Hello, hello, beautiful souls. What if every bad, not preferred, undesirable, evil behavior is actually caused by an unmet need? This has been the topic really getting me thinking, especially about myself and all of the times that I've had behavior patterns that I didn't prefer. Like, whenever you snap at someone or you're impatient in traffic and you get into an argument, or you get really angry and punch something. I haven't done that in a really long time, but it was there at one point. What if every single time that's happening, it's because there's unmet needs? And I've really started getting this down since January, meeting my own needs. I don't think you can meet other people's needs. You can co-regulate with children too. Like, obviously, parents are supposed to be meeting their needs. But I think it's more whenever it's on an emotional level, which is what kind of needs I'm really talking about here. This is assuming that you have your physical needs, like food, water, shelter, safety, like structural safety, not felt safety. Like, parents have an obligation to meet those physical needs for their kids. But I think a lot of the times what's happening is the emotional needs aren't even being addressed. It's starting to get more and more addressed now, which I think is beautiful and brilliant. But whenever I was coming up, we didn't know what emotional needs were. Like, you didn't need to, children were to be seen and not heard. I guess we were seen, but we weren't heard, So really, whenever we are angry or frustrated, like, looking into yourself and, first you have to name the feeling and you have to feel the feeling, allow it to be there without, trying to make it go away, without judging it, good or bad. Those are the first steps. And that's what I had been doing for years, allowing myself to feel feelings. And it still, wasn't, I didn't feel whole. I still felt really off. All the triggers were still coming and I was feeling them, but it wasn't like the cycle was still spinning and I wasn't getting out of it. And the reason that I wasn't was because I wasn't going to the need. Oftentimes, especially with anger, a lot of the times we feel like, it's unjustified, or, everything is good. Why am I angry about this? Not validating it. So validating it, allowing it to be there, and then what is the need? We have to go in and figure out what that need is, and, see it, hear it, nurture it, and soothe it. And as I've been doing this, my life, the way I feel, the way I'm showing up, especially for my kids, I'm so much more present now, and I'm so much more capable of handling their emotional needs. Not to say that I can meet their needs necessarily. I can't make them give themselves safety or confidence. I can, in that I, don't talk bad to them, and I'm trying to encourage them and allowing them to have their feelings, trying to connect with them and understand instead of control. But I think ultimately they are going to have to learn how to do this. And by me doing it and being able to tell them what I'm doing and to be able to be there whenever they're in a time of emotional neediness and like kind of show them how that's done. Maybe it'll even be that they don't like push those parts of themselves down so that it needs to be done. I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see how they end up with all of this, you know, parenting roller coaster thing that I've been taking them on. But yeah, like, you know, a lot of it for me in the last couple weeks has been clearing resentments. And what I've realized with that is, so if I am resenting something, I look into myself and say, like, you know, where do I judge myself for this same sort of behavior? And normally I'm like super critical on myself about whatever it is I'm resenting towards somebody else. So it's not even that I'm resenting them. I mean, it is initially, but it's an inside job. Like, I have to go in and be like, love that part that, you know, doesn't put the cup away or whatever. Lord knows we've all done it. So, like, why this huge amount of anger? But it's really built up because I haven't accepted it in myself, and I judge that part of myself, and I shove that part of myself way down in a dark, dark cellar and say, don't come out. But it's part of me, and that part just wants to be seen, heard, understood, nurtured, and soothed. And so whenever I go in there and I'm like, oh, it's okay that you didn't put the cup in the dishwasher that one time or that 20 times or whatever, like, and I can go back to these times in my life and like realize what else was going on. You know, it was another unmet need. Maybe I was too tired. Maybe I was hungry. Maybe I was overwhelmed. You know, I needed rest. I needed space. I needed peace and calm and time to think. So the more and more that I get resentful, I'm actually like happy whenever I get resentful now, because I'm like, yay, more stuff to clear. And yeah, like, so back to the thing that I started with, which was, what if every undesirable behavior is just unmet needs? And it could be physical, like whenever we're hangry, you know, get yourself a snacky snack. Like, I would say 90% of the time for me, when I'm not okay, it's a water problem. I gotta drink some water. So physical needs are important. But if you've met all your physical needs, you know, you've reached your goals, you have a house, you have transportation, you have your health, and you still find yourself just like on edge all the time, doing things that you don't want to do. Like, I know for me, whenever I was drinking a lot, it was like, why do I keep doing this? Why? And as I've met more and more of my needs and pulled out from the depths of my being all the parts that I've shamed for being bad and wrong and not accepted, I didn't accept them and I was ignoring them, and bringing those into the light and asking it, what is it that you need? Most of them, like, if you witness them and you kind of go back to that time and think, like, what was going on then, you know? Like, whenever I was drinking a lot, I was really, really sad. I didn't know what else to do. I was doing all the things, you know? I got a degree, I got a good job, I got married, I had kids, they're all healthy, they're all thriving, and yet still it feels like something isn't right. And it wasn't, because I was denying like these amazing parts of myself that are trying to protect me and help me thrive and be me, you know? So uncovering those, and every time they come up, you know, instead of trying to numb it or shove it down, taking the time to slow down, validating it, feeling it, allowing the feeling to be there. It doesn't last for very long. It's like a minute or two. And then really just getting curious about it. Like, what is it that you need? What are you trying to tell me? How are you keeping me safe? You know? And the more people that can start meeting their own needs emotionally, like, I can tell you right now, my kids are 100 times better off since I've started doing this. And I am such a better mother. I'm so present and able to deal with their, I don't want to call it an outburst. That's what it seemed like in the past. But really, like this morning, my son, my youngest son, was like, he looked a little upset. So I asked him, you know, what's going on? And he's always on top of what time it is. Like, he has a watch. He's better at time than me, and he's pretty young. So very time oriented. And last night he got home late because it's like baseball all-stars season. So they're like going really hard. And it's also the end of the school year. So it's like things are winding down there. But he was upset because this morning it was time to go and he had lost track of time. And last night when it was time for bed, he didn't realize how late it was. So, you know, one of his needs is rest, okay? And then he has a need to know, like, it's very important to him. He puts a very high value on knowing what time it is. So on the way to school this morning, I noticed, you know, that he wasn't his normal self. He looked frustrated, angry, tired. And so I asked him, you know, what's going on? Not knowing about the 2 time things that had happened, and he explained it to me, and it just made so much sense. And that's the sort of thing that's happening multiple times a day for me now. And in the past, he would have been upset, and I probably would have taken it personally. Like I did something wrong, you know? Or I would have tried to like tell him, don't be angry. It's almost the end of school. Like, look at all these things to be happy about. Instead of, you know, getting curious about it and letting him be tired. Yeah, what he's doing right now is tiring. And obviously it's a little bit overwhelming too, because he's lost track of time, which I never, ever, ever thought would happen. But, you know, being there and being able, and like our ride to school is like 5 minutes long. So it's not a long voyage, short talk. And when he got out of the car, he had a smile on his face. And it just could have gone differently if I hadn't done the work that I've been doing and known that, like, being secure in myself and more whole and complete, not taking it personal, not trying to shame his anger or make it change or make it go away. It's just like, shit happens, man. And sometimes it blows. And it's important to like be there with that. And then, you know, like, we can learn from it. You know, I can be more aware that he may need some help with the time. He's probably going to be more aware with the time. I probably won't even have to do anything because he was so mad at himself. Like, but it's just so beautiful. Like, and it starts with you. And it's quite simple, actually. It's just something that's not really taught. Like, I didn't know about it. I had been searching for this information, like the missing piece of the puzzle. Like, why am I not healing? Why do I keep going through these same cycles, feeling the same way with like no sense of wholeness? But it was because I wasn't meeting those needs. They were still getting shoved away. Like, why isn't this anger gonna go away? Sort of thing. So, yeah, the next time somebody's being an asshat to you, just know that they have some unmet needs. It's not about you, more than likely. And, you know, if it's bothering you, you probably have some unmet needs too that you could look into. And as we detangle this and start bringing out all of these ignored and unacceptable parts of ourselves and start just embracing them, getting curious about them, loving them, giving them the safety to be, like, it's just so beautiful. Thanks for listening. Love you. Bye.